Okay, here we go with Uphill. Christina Rossetti composed this one in 1858, so it's still fairly early in her career as a poet. Really key context for this poem is a very famous text for the Victorians, which is The Pilgrim's Progress, written by John Bunyan in 1678. So I know it sounds like a long time ago, but it was a very influential text, and it was often taught to children and read to children. It's an allegory of Christian life as a difficult journey, which is what we get in Uphill. In it, a character called Christian travels through a symbolic landscape on his way to the celestial city. So that's heaven. So Rossetti doesn't use the same symbols, but she uses the same overarching idea. There are two voices in this poem. The speaker that starts and asks the questions, and then a speaker who answers. The first speaker is the voice of the poem. We could say the voice of the poet, but they also speak for many Christians. They are unsure, they're seeking reassurance, voicing many doubts that Christina Rossetti herself may have felt and many Christians may have felt. The Christian life is described as taking the whole long day. We'll talk a bit about that line a bit more when we talk about meter, but that does seem like a long, hard life. It's a day, that's the metaphor, that's the allegory. The day is your life. They also describe themselves as travel sore and weak at the end of their journey. Shall I find comfort, travel sore and weak? So this is going to be hard work, living this Christian life. The second speaker, who replies, is calm and confident all the way through. This is the divine voice, answering all the questions and reassuring, i.e. twice starts with yes. So the question is based on what someone thinks their Christian life should be. Will this be the case? Yes, you can be confident. Therefore, yes, we've said it's reassuring, and also very reassuring when it addresses the speaker as my friend. Okay, that's a very nice way for the divine to speak to the humble, ordinary Christian. They also use strong modal verbs. Those are verbs in front of other verbs that tell you how likely a thing is to happen. So in stanza 1, the second speaker says, it will take from morn to night, my friend. Then the end of stanza 2, it says, you cannot miss that in. Yeah, how likely am I to miss that in? Not likely at all, you cannot. And what about when I want to get in and I knock? They will not keep you standing at the door. Yeah, will not is the strong modal verb there. The structure that Rossetti has chosen, or the form, is a very traditional, simple, plain, hymn-like. We have quatrains, 4-line verses, with just the normal, ordinary, simple rhyme scheme, A, B, A, B. We can link that to her purpose and to her content, that this is a teaching poem, and she wants to keep it nice and plain and straightforward structure, not necessarily straightforward in content. It's alternate lines. The first person speaker is asking, and then the second voice answers. In every stanza, lines 1 and 3 have iambic pentameter. There's one that's a little bit not such a regular, straightforward iambic meter, and this one I just mentioned, when the second question in stanza 1 is, will the day's journey take the whole long day? And that whole long day, those 3 nouns, you go stress, 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 you can't help it, whole long day. So that slows it down at the end, and that feels like the longest line. If you count the syllables, it's not a longer line in terms of syllables, but in terms of beat, it creates those pauses, and it fits the content, doesn't it? Because it's talking about the whole long day. Also repeats day twice in there. Lines 2 and 4, these are the answering lines. They can vary between 3 and 5 stresses. And what can we say about that? Well, the shortest ones are sounding very emphatic because our voice is very confident. Yes, to the very end. is the first answer. That's just got your 3 beats going on there. From morn to night, my friend. But some of them are longer. A roof for when the slow, dark hours begin. It's kind of similar, isn't it, to the whole long day. Slow, dark hours. You've got 3 nouns again. Stress, stress, stress slows that down. So the longest, once again, mirrors its content. So we've already mentioned the allegory. The poem all the way through is allegorical. Christian life is a difficult journey. It's uphill all the way. You get your reward at the end. So that day represents your entire life, and night is death, the end of your mortal life. Heaven is the inn, or I should say the inn is heaven. It offers, like an inn, comfort and rest. The inn / heaven also contains those who have already died, with whom we shall be reunited. Such a strong idea in so many of Rossetti's poems and in Victorian culture generally. The inn is open to all who look for it and commit to living a good, and it's a reward for living a good Christian life. Of labour you shall find the sum. Yeah, the sum is the total. So how much you've worked is the comfort you will get when you get to the inn. Shall I meet other wayfarers at night is the question. The answer is those who have gone before. That's a euphemism for people who've died. They've gone before. So we've talked about the voice and the tone. We can say a bit more about it. The first speaker, the inquirer, is subdued and quiet. Tone maybe is a bit flat, and that may reflect the weariness of this long, hard journey life. The whole long day, we've mentioned before, they are monosyllables, and it's just noun, noun, noun. Also the O's in that whole long, they come out long. The answer speaks with assurance in a sort of low tones, but we've also mentioned how emphatic and authoritative they are, and what adds to that. There's anonymity to the narrator. There's no individualizing details in the whole poem, so the speaker can represent everyone who takes this journey, whatever gender, whatever nationality. That's why there's no individual touches. This is every Christian. So, unsurprisingly, got a lot of religious themes going on here. It engages with the doubts that a Christian might have. Yeah, particularly hope in getting to heaven in the end. It offers reassurance based on fairly straightforward, clear Christian theology. Famously, in one of the Gospels, Jesus says to his disciples, "My Father's house has many rooms." And so that can link explicitly to the promise that there are beds for all who come. This poem does emphasise the hardship of a virtuous life. Yeah, rewarded after death of labour, you will get the sum. It's interesting, or it's easy to forget or not notice, that the road is described as winding. So it's not just uphill, but it's a long way uphill. And if you ever watch the Tour de France, or I don't know, any film like a James Bond movie where they're going up and down all those hairpin bends on really steep roads, that's how steep it is, that you've got to wind your way up it. You can't go straight up. So that's why it takes so long to climb. And this promise, this really important promise to the Victorians, that you will meet those who've died before you in heaven. So some of the context that are important here is Rossetti's understanding of this specific doctrine of soul sleep, that you die and then you're asleep until final resting day when you wake up and get to go to heaven. Oh, there it is. The Christians sleep in their grave until the day of judgment rather than going straight to heaven. More generally, Rossetti's serious Christianity. Life is full of hardship and suffering, and the reward for that is in heaven. And the authority with which she answers these questions in the divine voice. Think about that. A 28-year-old Victorian lady, girl, woman, yeah, having the authority and the confidence to write a poem like this, reassuring other Christians and taking on the voice of God, maybe, / Jesus, / telling you it's all going to be okay. Telling herself it's all going to be okay. Beds for all who come.